Hey, we are here again on the Proform chatting with Beau Petersen via Skype. I tell you, his thread on the Proform about pricing is getting ridiculous traffic. Ridiculous. I tried to read it, to be honest with you, on the plane. I had a 2.5 hour flight from Dallas to Phoenix, and then I had an hour and a half flight from New Orleans to Dallas. I know I'm going backwards, but the whole point is I had a grand total of 4 hours to sit on an airplane. I bought the internet specifically to read that thread, and I didn't get all the way through it. So, I mean, it's just crazy how many people are responding to his concept, both positive and negative. And so I tell you, we decided let's get Beau back and let's follow up a little bit, since his brain is wired differently and he can't type fast and he wants to just simply sit around and chat about it. So Beau,
with a cup of coffee.
Yeah, here's your platform. Let's hear it. What's on your mind about this pricing?
Oh man, this has been great. You probably noticed I don't have a lot of threads on your Proform, as you mentioned, that it's hard for me to type. I just rather be talking and hanging out and having a beer with someone. You know, when you go to these conventions and you listen to photographers at any platform class or Creative Live or whatever, they're fantastic. But my best ways of capturing knowledge and learning is just having a beer or a cup of coffee with a photographer and just shooting the breeze, and ideas start storming around your mind. That's where I've learned my best throughout my years. That being said, this idea that I have here, there's been some, I guess you mentioned already, positive, very, very positive. I've received numerous of private messages on the Proform thanking me for this idea and believing in it.
By the way, I want to say something about that real quick. For all those people out there who sent Beau a private message, first of all, honestly, thank you. Thank you for at least getting involved to that level. But hey, there's nothing wrong with voicing your opinion in the thread. Hey, I mean, think about it. If you're feeling like, well, wait a minute, they're just gonna, people are gonna say negative things to me, people are gonna think bad of me. Well, guess what? You may find out that by posting in that thread, Beau, thank you, Beau, I like this idea, Beau, this is incredible, that you are in fact in the majority. So, there's nobody, my job as the administrator is to make sure nobody rags you out. So, if something like that was to happen on a thread and you feel like, you was treated poorly, you send me a private message and I'm going to get on it. So anyway, go ahead, Beau.
Fantastic. Yeah, it doesn't bother me when people give me maybe a pessimistic idea, a viewpoint that they maybe feel strongly about. It doesn't bother me at all. When that is their opinion in a right way. They have questions. They really do have questions, because this industry that we are a part of for years have been selling a certain way. You go to the seminars, you go to the classes, you listen to the way the leaders, as we call them in our industry, their ways of selling is all very similar. This is a new approach to it. So, has been brought up a couple things in the thread. Some may say, well, Beau, if you go to my website, you maybe follow me on Facebook or whatever it is, you mainly do weddings. And you are correct. My general amount of income that comes in is wedding income. I love weddings. They're fantastic. They're crazy. They're out there. And that has allowed me actually to become a better portrait photographer, dealing with kids and whatever it may be. That being said, this idea, you say, well, how is it going to be profitable for the rest of the people that don't want to do weddings? Well, that's where I'm working on this idea right now. That's why I'm sharing it with the Proform. That's why I'm talking about it. I do believe it can work. I do believe it needs a different form of advertising, a different form of getting out in your community, maybe doing mailers and drop mailers, whatever it may be, to get people involved with this new pricing. With weddings, I have, a general big income coming in, so now I can test these ideas because I don't have to worry about losing the house, as we would say in the industry. And that's one of the biggest parts. And you brought that up to me too, Kirk. In your years of trying new ideas, you would never try a new idea unless you had an income coming in.
Yes. I always looked at my business this way, just as a side note for the world watching. I had three major segments.
Right.
Seniors, weddings, families, and babies. Okay? Now, this was when I was your age, Bo, and when I was in the heyday, and I was paying a house note, and all these kinds of things, and I wasn't looking at retirement. I was looking at, oh my God, how am I going to pull all this off? I got, kids that were going to grow up, and all them other expenses that we have in younger life. Well, if my wedding business was going and blowing, and I had a successful family and children market, well, then I would do crazy things. And in my day, that was minimum orders, boy. Whoo! I had no sitting fee, and I decided we would do minimum orders with seniors. Oh, that was radical. I got all kinds of flack for that. I ripped the idea off from Doug Box. Well, and anyway, and I did it, and it became extremely, extremely successful. So successful was my senior business that I literally quit doing families and children. And then the senior business continued to grow to the point where it was still extremely successful. And you bring in the Proform at this time to where now I don't do weddings. But so you could say that, yes, I'm in a very similar situation as to you with this experiment. I have the luxury of the Proform. Let's put it out on the table. I do make money off of this thing with advertising and memberships and all the other stuff that goes with it. Hey, Bethany.
Hey. Hey, babe.
Anyway, so yeah, so I have the same luxury as you to where you guys can watch me and say, did it work or did it fail? Because here's the cool thing about my world. If I did not, I would hate for this to happen, but if I did not photograph a single senior next year, I'm not going hungry. I'm not. I'll just live off of some savings for a while. I don't want that to happen, but I have that luxury. So yes, this is why I was so interested in having this conversation with you, because if this is the future, if this is what we're going to have to do to make a living, if we're going to have to do more like this, then I'm all for the experiment. And I'll tell you some of the stuff that's after you get going a little bit more that we talked about at Imaging, because I talked to some power people at Imaging this past week, and I tell you what, dude, I hate to keep saying you're on to something, but I think you're on to something here. So.
And one more thing I want to attack on here, this whole process of like what I'm charged with a $350 idea. Let's say I do 3 of them a day. I do maybe 6 of them a week. That'd be $2,000, whatever that may be. I have to look at my financial situation. Every photographer has to look at their personal decision. So let's say I want to have an average of $2,000 one sales. I want to put a lot of hand holding into it, a lot of measuring, maybe in their house, the right frame sizes, all that stuff. There's a certain market for that. There are people that love that aspect in the photography industry. There's a market for that, but it's very small. The market that I'm advertising to is the general public. People that just want a few images in their house. They don't want to collect big wall portraits yet, or whatever maybe it is. Maybe they do down the line. I'm trying to get a client in the door that will eventually become a longevity client, where they will order big prints down the line, probably through me. But again, it comes back also to how much money do I want to make a year. If I want to have a big house, 3 cars, a boat, I want to travel, all that stuff, I need to make more money. Whereas maybe I have a spouse that works at a factory or on computers, or works in white or blue collar industry, and I can make a little side income and take care of the kids. I don't need to make as much money as a photographer. I want to spend more time with my children, whether female or male, on that aspect. So that's something that, I think in the industry, people say, well, I need to average this, but I can't do this. This $350 idea can work for anybody. It really can work. And that's what I'm trying to say is, whether it be you charge $250 or maybe $450, that's fine. That's your decision. If you want to give away 10 files with that versus 20 files, or I only artistically give away a few files. The point is when we give away our artistic files, it's on our blog. and it's for advertising means, whether it's on Instagram or Facebook, tagging them on that, because it's free advertising. Does it take a little bit more effort on my part than just slapping an ad in a local paper or a phone book? Yes, but it requires us to become viral with this area that we live in and the world we live in today. So again, whatever the money you want to make, you have to ask yourself, what do I want to make? Not, okay, the neighbor photographer down the street that's, oh my word, they got 100 seniors in this year, and I only did 30. Well, are you happy with your 30? Did you make enough money with your 30? Well, then, yeah. Then why are you worrying about that person that did 100? That's my point. And that's why we're trying this out, this idea. So again, I love the feedback. I do believe it's going to work. Give me your thoughts on the whole social networking aspect of this, Kirk.
I think I have neglected the social networking part of this whole world. I mean,
yeah, hated Facebook from the start. You're like, I hate Facebook.
I still hate Facebook. I can't stand it. Okay, I honest to God cannot stand it. And
because the Proform is kind of like Facebook, and you can think of a $1 idea. You should have thought a long time ago.
Listen, you know what? When I watched that Zuckerberg Facebook, what was it called? The movie,
Social Network.
Social Network. And they spewed out the year that he's writing the initial Facebook code. He's starting to write the code on a window. Remember that? It's at the beginning of the movie. And they flashed up the year. I said, wait a minute. I had the Proform before that.
Yep.
I mean, the Proform was in existence before the Facebook code ever even begun to be written.
But you weren't in college, buddy. That's why.
Yeah, and my brain didn't think like that. I did not think worldwide. I did not think, hey, let's get everybody on the Proform. I said, man, let's just get some great photographers. That's all I want. I just want a social with great photographers. Well, whatever. Don't get me on that rant, God dog it. But look, the bottom line is the world that we live in now, is all about being constantly connected.
Correct.
Everybody's connected. You should have seen imaging. For those who did not make imaging, you were constantly getting tweets from Imaging USA. You was constantly, everywhere there was boards set up to where everybody who was tweeting with everybody at Imaging was all getting placed on these digital boards. Right. To where you could just sit there and read everybody's, oh, I'm in so-and-so's class, it's so good. Oh, I'm in so-and-so's class, it's so good. Everybody should come over here. Everybody. And it's like, do you remember the day when you barely got at a convention like this? I remember when SPA put out a newsletter that came out every day, and it was all the stuff that was in the newsletter was what happened the day before, and we were like, whoa, that's so innovative. Man, how about now? We're getting instant updates about what's going on in this class and what's going on in that class.
This is right here. It's on this piece. So my point is, Kirk, you need to find in whatever you are as a photographer out there. Don't go crazy too much on the social media. Just balance it all out with your family, your life. Don't get too aggressive. It's the same with this new idea. It's a new idea. Whether you want to make $350 a session and you need to make $700 a session, can you come in as an entry level, let's say $200-300, giving some files, they're happy, and knowing that they're going to possibly go away with that?
Yeah.
And can we be honest with ourselves? And that's the key here. What do I want to make in profit a year? Every photographer is different on that. And how can I keep it simple? But really the biggest key here for us is we keep simplifying and taking things away. Instead of having like an 8-page sales folder, now we just have products, few products. I don't have a ton of them.
Put that right down the middle. Right down the middle. So everybody, nope. Yeah, right there. Perfect. Now, right down the middle. Everybody can see that.
So you can see, and I can put this posted on the whole Proform too.
Yeah.
Our pricing. You can even see on the thread number 9 how we advertise in our window. And the advertisement in thread 9 says portrait sessions. This is in our front window in our office, and we're thinking of sending flyers out to the community. Portrait sessions, no session fee. All full resolution digital files included. Artistically retouched files included. Again, we use those for advertising, and they can have them too. 8x10s for only $10. We bring the studio to you. Now, we're going to have a studio at our place now too, but my point is that they see that number is $10. Ooh, I can afford that. We get them in the door. We get people that probably never would have probably come to us in the past. Now we're getting them in the door, even considering using our services. And then once they use us, they're like, wow, this is great imagery. I have awesome images. So again, it goes back to the idea, how many pictures do you want to fill in people's houses at one time? If you want to do a $3,000 sale or $2,000 sale on big wall portraits and they're done, fine. That's perfect. There's a niche for that. But it's not a big.
And if it's
market.
working for you, if you are
stick with it. Don't change it.
That's it. We're not dare suggesting everybody on the planet suddenly go to this. But if you are finding yourself in a situation where you want to try something different,
the vast majority are, Kirk. I think the vast majority of photographers are frustrated what they're hearing out there, and I have to set up this big sales room with these fancy TVs and products everywhere, and I got to spend $6,000-7,000 in printing products in my studio, and then a mortgage and whatever it may be for my studio or a rent. But this is the simple way, and it allows you to make money and not to have that overhead. You have zero overhead with this. Yeah. It's very, very little. Actually, you don't have zero, but very little.
After you do a program, people come to you after the program, and you walk around the trade show, and they see you, and they say, "Hey, I didn't get a chance to say this during the program, but I got a question about this, and I got a question about that." Well, the same thing happened to me at imaging, and the overall constant consensus of opinion question from big name photographers. I'm talking about people well established, photographers. I'm not talking about people who've been in business, starting yesterday. I'm talking about well established big name photographers would come up to me and say, "Kirk, your numbers, I mean, you're still doing, like you used to do, because I used to do 200 seniors a year." I'd say, "No, I'm under 100. "Oh, okay. Whoa, because our numbers are down like that too. I mean, your averages are still way, way, way up there." I'm like, "No, they're not." No. "Oh, okay. Whew. I thought, man, it's just me. Something's wrong with me." And it's like, it's not just you. It's Correct. Everybody. And
absolutely.
You made a comment. You made a comment about restaurants. Mm-hmm. Talk about that again. You said
when you walk into a restaurant, and some people love choices, and that's fine. More power to those people. But when I walk into a restaurant and I have a menu, it's like, wow, there's 8 pages of food here. I don't know what I want. I think I'm gonna get the cheeseburger. That's how I feel, because I don't know what I want. When I get a menu that's just 2 sides, a couple cool things. Hey, they have weekly specials. Let's check out the weekly special. Oh, awesome. That's simple. It's just one item they change weekly. But it gives me choices that's not a lot of choices where I go, I'm in the mood for that. Perfect. Satisfied. Eat it. So that's my point. If you get a lot of choices, sometimes we get overwhelmed. When we walk into clothing stores, why do women go in and buy tons of clothing and return it all? Because they don't know what they want. It's too many choices sometimes. So we need to simplify things in our mind and our thoughts. And just to touch base on one thought too, even as photographers who teach, are wonderful teachers, whether it be the Creative Live or the Imaging or WPPI or Sync or whatever it is. But a lot of these photographers are making money on photographers. And that's something that we need to understand, that they're there to make money not just on clients in the community, but they're also going to make money on photographers, and they're selling their products or whatever it is. And of course, you're speaking the truth of that yourself. You make money on photographers, buying the Proform and so on and so forth. So there's nothing wrong with that, but the vast majority, I'd say like 98% of the photographers out there need to make money on clients and people in their community. So is it better to be famous in your photography networks, or is it better to be famous and well-known in your community as a very affordable and a good product that you give to clients in the community that everybody just loves? Yeah. And I always say it's better to be much more well-known in your community, whatever it is, and people just talking to you there and kind of famous within that area, not the photography industry, because that's the people that are going to pay for you to photograph their families, weddings, seniors, babies, whatever it is. And I think even with this industry, people are going to have to start doing a little bit more. You can't just specialize with, say, weddings. We did that for a whole 2 years, specialized just in weddings, and we had to branch out and bring in portraits. Again, this idea that we have, we can test it out right now. We tested it out last fall in our busiest time of year, halfway through the season. About 30, I guess you could say, clients went with it, and they were all extremely happy. They were satisfied. They were excited to get the disc. They were kind of even, in a way, expecting to spend more money on me, which I was like, wow, hey, I could have maybe charged more. But they went away extremely happy. And I know, when the other photographer down the street or in the neighborhood says, yeah, I spent $2,000 on these products, and they go, hey, well, I went to Beau, and I got mine for $350. What? What? What movie is that from, Kirk?
I don't know.
Internship.
Oh, yeah.
What? See, that's my point. It's the whole, like, well, how did you get that? And that's where the future business will come from. The community. Yeah. People knowing that there's a good deal and getting a good product. So I like to end it with that kind of.
Yeah, well, I'll add to that in my conversations with people, because while this was kind of new right before I went to imaging, and so these different people who would come up to me at imaging and ask questions, and I would throw them your idea. I would, because a lot of these people are not on the Proform, and I'd say, let me throw an idea at you. This is a buddy of mine in Wisconsin. This is what he's thinking about doing. This is what he's doing. He's tested it a little bit. What do you think about this crazy radical idea? And I would tell him about it, and I would say, here's what he's going to do, 350, blah, 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 blah. And they would say, well, it sounds like to me that it's like more work in that you're going to have more sessions. You're going to have to do more sessions to end up with the same money. And as opposed to, you do one session and they come in and buy $2,000 worth of stuff. And then they would say, and then you could see the brain. That's what was fascinating to watch. They would go, well, but then again, if they never come back, and we don't have to deal with sending their images to the lab. And then again, we don't, they don't have to get resent because they wasn't done right. And then, then we're not going to have to remind them to come pick them up. So that eliminates a sales
you got to think
curve.
About packaging for the prints. You got to think of like the hand holding and maybe setting it up. And,
exactly. You could hear their
I
brain.
gave them a $20 gift card for the local restaurant down the road because I'm thanking them.
Yeah.
That's a lot of overhead.
My point is, you could see their brain going, wait a minute, this could work. So, look, we wanted to try to keep this as short as possible.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Kirk, I wanted to mention one more thing, too, is I'm going to tackle more ideas on this whole thread here down the line. How we keep our studio downtown very reasonable and simple. How once my employees, I have 2 employees that are actually in Thailand right now for the next month. One of them lives from there. And when they get back, I'll show you how we simplified our employees, how they do specific tasks that allows me, as a photographer, to just shoot. Yeah. And that's fun. I love shooting pictures and interacting with people. Yeah. That's what I love. That's what I want to do. It allows me to do that. How I keep my process simple and separate everything else that I don't want to do, where then it allows me to have free time to do what I want.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to get at here. We need to get rid of the simple ways of doing it. Yeah, do I lose profit? Did I spend thousands of dollars last year on employees? Absolutely. But what is that worth to me to do more, sessions? It's a win-win, no matter where you look at it.
Well, the whole point of this little video between us was we wanted, again, to address maybe some of the questions and things that were being said. And at the same time, what we were hopeful of is that we would take it, a little bit more. So if there's something specific you want me and Beau to chat about, specifically Beau, I guess, since it's his idea, then throw that out in the thread. Here's what I want y'all to video chat about. And, we'll start making a list. Just a bit of a teaser on this. There is something I'm going to be rolling out probably, if I test it like I'm supposed to test it, it might not roll out until the summertime, to be honest with you. But there's a few key photographers I'm having test some experimental marketing that kind of goes hand in hand with this whole Beau concept. And so what I'm doing is I'm not just picking people from the South, say, I'm picking some people from different areas, and I'm giving them all of my verbiage, all of my wording, all of this stuff that we're doing, and I'm curious to see if you can take just as a teaser, I'm taking people from social media, various sources, that have no idea that they want or need or desire professional photography. And I'm taking them in a little bit at a time, slowly converting them into my way of thinking and turning this desire that they don't even know they have into hundreds of dollars. Not thousands, hundreds. And so if I can pull off a couple of $100 from somebody who does not even know that they want to take pictures. So that I don't want to give it all away.
And of course, we're gonna continue on with these videos down the line with how to keep this whole process simple. Simple is the key here with the way things are going in the future. You look at a red box again; it sits outside a gas station. You don't have to pay for a big storefront. It's simple.
Yeah,
that's the point, and that's where I'm trying to get the ideas coming into people.
Okay.
Thank you, Kurt.
Thank y'all so much. Again, thank you for hanging out on the Proform, Beau. Thank you for starting this whole conversation. Absolutely. Cheers to you. There you go. Oh, hey, there it is. And, again, everybody, please, great, keep sending Beau private messages, but if you got something to add to that conversation, even if it's a thank you or an attaboy, post it. And if you've got something specific you want us to talk about, by all means, post it. Thank y'all very much, and bye.